financial survival network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
$14.90 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network. Time for another Triple Lutz report. So guess what extremists like more than anything else in the world? Gold and silver. According to the FBI, you might be a terrorist if you believe the United States went bankrupt by going off the gold standard. Now, there seems to be an implication that, yes, we did go bankrupt. It's just a question of how we got there. But not to read too much into a statement by the FBI, they're warning local law enforcement that people who don't believe in environmental regulations, people who are opposed to governmental authority over every single item in their lives, such as light bulbs, such as how many gallons your toilet flushes when you pull the handle, this might make you a terrorist, and you could be a danger to law enforcement. Now, this is absurd, okay? Like I said before, the cop pulls up behind me with the lights on, I pull over, okay? I'm not going to be like one of those guys on Cops and get tased and pepper sprayed into submission and shackled, have my ankles and my wrists shackled, tossed into the back of the cop car and taken off to see the judge. Come on, this is absurd. I'm not out there, and I'm sure you're not out there organizing insurrections. What we are doing, and what they hate, is we're talking about ideas. We're examining the power of the government, how it got there, and how much power it should exactly have. And I guess that makes us potential terrorists. Now, the one thing that they say here is, it's really funny. The extremists may refuse to pay taxes, defy government environmental regulations, and believe the United States went bankrupt by going off the gold standard. I mean, it's just beautiful. So that makes Ron Paul terrorist number one. The police, the FBI is saying that these people can turn violent at the drop of a hat. So says the Deputy Assistant Director in the FBI's Counterterrorism Division, Stuart MacArthur. So I guess if you believe in sound money, if you believe that the United States government was founded as a limited government with narrowly defined powers, and that it has exceeded its constitutional authority and it needs to be cut back, then they better watch out for you. And finally, they say sovereign members often express particular outrage at collection, putting Internal Revenue Service employees at risk. Yes, I'm outraged by this unfair, unjust system. Yes, I am. And what I'm really enraged about is that it impoverishes our country, it wastes people's time, and it feeds a government that knows no limits, that knows no bounds. That's what bothers me. But what's really great, and I'm going to put this on CarrieLutz.com. So go to Carrie, Kerry, Lutz, Lutz.com. It's a map showing the history of debt, external debt by region. And then it starts from 1970. It's color-coded. It shows that in 1970, the U.S. was the only U.S. and Canada, the only section in the world that had over $501 billion in debt. The rest of the world was under 50 per region. And of course, you know the story. As time goes by, after 1971, when the gold standard is abandoned by the U.S. and therefore by reference the entire world, this map, debt just goes on and on, gradually at first. Then things start looking a little bit like they're heating up in 2000. And then you get to 2010, and the only place that doesn't have oodles and oodles of debt is Africa and the Middle East. Every other place, man, is totally encumbered by debt. So if you believe that the gold standard, as imperfect as it was, acted to some extent as a limiting factor on how much government could spend. And you believe that when Nixon abandoned the gold standard, what was left of it, the remnants, the shreds, the shards, when he abandoned it and that debt took off, pretty much has bankrupted the entire world. If you believe these things, then you're somebody who is anti-establishment, you're a threat to the government, and the FBI is telling local and law enforcement, be wary, be afraid. Well, this is absurd. Just another example. They're obviously building a case to do something, to restrict somebody's rights, to shut some people up who they don't want to hear from. Hopefully it's not me. Hopefully it's not you. Hopefully I'm just paranoid and I'm imagining all this. On the other hand, if I'm not imagining it, you better be very concerned. And you better start thinking how we're going to take our country back in a nonviolent fashion, because violence is just not going to work. You can't fight the army. You wind up like Syria. And I don't favor it in any event, because I believe the pen is mightier than the sword, that in the arena of ideas, the limited government, libertarian, free market people who founded this country, who are its greatest advocates, they win. We win. I'm going to restrict the argument to this point because liberals won't debate. Big government people won't debate their ideas that government should dominate and control every aspect of your life. So I'm going to now confine the debate between anarchy, anarchists, and limited government libertarians. I'm not going to say this conservative. I'm not saying Republican, Democrat. The parties are merely extensions of the state. They are the prime enablers, prime supporters of statism. Statism believes the state is prime, the state is superior, and all of us are subservient to the state. And the libertarian and the anarchist believes that the individual's rights trump state rights and all other rights, where the anarchists and the libertarians part company. Libertarians believe there's a certain basic need for a minimalistic government to protect rights and to prosecute fraud, which is another right not to be defrauded. The anarchists believe, hey, we can all get along, just get the government out of our way, we'll be singing Kumbaya, and everything will be great. A little bit of an exaggeration. Sorry for that. But look, that's what it comes down to. So what we should be debating is, should we have anarchy or should we have libertarian free markets with minimalistic government? That's the debate. The debate is not about big government. That debate has been defeated. It lost in the Soviet Union. It lost in China. It lost in Cuba. You know, every place you go that's a Stalinist theme park like Cuba is broke. It's that simple. And they all went broke because the free market is the greatest generator of wealth known to man. We don't know any other way to do it. Any other thing we try leads to bankruptcy, period. And what's the greatest protector of the free market? Precious metals backed currencies, because last I heard, unless they pulled Merlin back from the Middle Ages and he showed you how to do alchemy, how you could produce gold just by waving a wand over lead, they can't just print the stuff up. So that means your money supply is fixed, and by extension, government spending has fixed, limited. Now, what's happened before is they've lied about how much paper they've issued that represents the gold. And that's why we always have currency crises. But we've never had a currency crisis anything like what we're about to encounter. So you have to think about that. And I hope that you're all government-defined extremists in that you believe in a gold standard, or in any event, a fixed money standard. It's Kerry Lutz. Been another Triple Lutz Report, signing off.